In this last year, we've seen some radical new watt-saving concepts from bikes like the Ribble Ultra SLR and the Orbea Orca Aero, though it's true we haven't seen quite the same number of new Aero bikes launched. As the bike industry recovers after the pandemic and supply catches up with demand, all that looks set to change for 2022. Aero bikes have continued to get lighter, beginning to match the climbing bikes kilo for kilo, and that's why some manufacturers have decided to merge the two types. Specialized merged the Tarmac and the Venge, but others have kept them separate, like Cervelo with the R5 and the S5. We've picked out 7 bikes that we think are going to be at the leading edge of the World Tour and also the Club Run in 2022. Arguably, the most radical new aero bike for 2022 is from British brand Ribble, which claims that the Ultra SLR is the world's most aerodynamically advanced road bike. Developed at Silverstone Wind Tunnel with Total Sim, who are some of the best aerodynamicists in the business, the Ultra SLR features a radical handlebar that does away with the metal clamp that normally holds shifters onto the bend. Instead, the shifters mount directly, meaning the bar can be a more aero-optimized shape than the usual round profile. The bar also features aero wake generators or humps that the rider is effectively drafting behind. It's really clever stuff, and that's before we've even started on the frame. Ribble says this bike and handlebar could supply a 75-second saving over 40 kilometers compared to its own endurance SLR aero bike. All this is a huge step in R&D for Ribble, but it's kept the prices relatively low versus the industry. The SL range, which doesn't come with the Ultra handlebar, starts at $3,899 and the SLR models begin at $4,299. The brand new Orca Aero is, according to Orbea, the fastest aero bike it has ever designed. Orbea is claiming a 15 watt improvement at 40 km per hour and 28 watts at 50 km per hour over the outgoing model. It's a total redesign rather than a refining of the previous Orca Aero, which has been around since 2017. Orbea says it is built on what it learnt from its latest time trial bike, the Ordu, launched in 2020, and comparing the Ordu and the new Orca Aero side by side, the similarities are obvious, from the newly horizontal top tube to the very narrow clearance between the front tyre and the down tube to the shaping and angle of the seat stays. The two now also share the cargo foil storage box that bolts to the down tube, filling the gap between the front wheel and the down tube and improving aerodynamics, although it's not UCI legal. Orbea says the cargo foil improves aerodynamics by 3% when it's combined with the other Aero bottle, which is UCI legal. There's a new Aero handlebar and stem with cable integration, but they're still separate components, making it easy to get your bike fit dialed in. There are 6 stock builds, with prices ranging from £3,999 to £9,599. But Orbea also offers component options such as switching a wheel set, gearing or other components through the ordering process so that a customer's Orca Aero arrives at the dealer in the exact configuration they've chosen. And there are additional paint scheme personalization options too. The Pinarello Dogma became an aero bike with the redesign that gave us the Dogma F8 back in 2014. Since then, we've had the Dogma F10 and the Dogma F12, and the new version, just called Dogma F, launched earlier this year. It's lighter by 265 grams than the outgoing Dogma F12, thanks to a lighter frame kit. Fausto Pinarello famously refuses to make a frame lighter than 850 grams, which he considers is the perfect weight for standards of quality and rider safety. So the new bike features a titanium 3D printed seat clamp, a lighter seat post, fork, through axles, and a new Most Talon ultra-fast integrated cockpit. Since the original F8 was already very aerodynamic, aero savings have become progressively smaller, but crucially, Pinarello says that the Dogma F disc frame and fork is 7.3% faster than the rim brake frame and fork, the first time a disc Dogma has been faster than its rim counterpart. We managed a first ride on the Dogma F before having to return it for the launch, and said, Pinarello seems to have put back some of the Italian style that the earlier, more data-driven Dogma F series bikes lacked. It's curvy and beautiful with a ride quality to match, and it's even faster. The frame and fork will cost £5,400, while the top spec SRAM Red ETAP with DT Swiss Arc 50 wheels will be £12,000. The new Canyon Aeroad was launched in 2020, but due to a very eventful 2021, the 2022 model promises to be something pretty special. For 2022, the flagship Aeroad will be a special Mathieu van der Poel signature Aeroad CFR in the Dutchman's signature baby blue colour with his slogan, "Let the legs do the talking," under the top tube. It's equipped with the new Shimano Dura Ace group set. It weighs 7.24 kilos according to Canyon and is priced at just over £10,000. When we reviewed the Aeroad CFR, we said the handling was razor sharp and also praised it for being more comfortable than the previous version. It's also 7.4 watts more aerodynamic than the old Aeroad. We scored it 4.5 out of 5 and gave it a spot in our editor's choice list. Prices start at £3,699 for the Shimano 105 equipped Aeroad CF SL7 and go all the way up to £10,099 for the MVDP edition. The Aero bike ridden by Groupama FDJ is the third iteration of the Aircode and is the best yet. Lapierre's goal was to make the new Aircode more aerodynamic and stiffer, yet more comfortable than the previous version. The cables and Di2 wires disappear into the cockpit via a new bespoke bar and stem. The fork crown blends very neatly into the down tube with just the tiniest gap. All of the tubing is aerofoil profiled as you'd expect, and in wind tunnel tests, the new frame is 13% faster than the old one, according to Lapierre. The top of the range model is the Aircode DRS 8.0, which comes with Ultegra Di2 and a handlebar that can be adapted for tri-bars, which are included in the box. When we tested it, we called it an awesomely fast bike, perfectly suited to racing. Prices start at £2,999 for the DRS5, which has a Shimano 105 build, and £6,999 for the DRS8, which has Ultegra Di2. Specialized aeroized the Tarmac and dropped the Venge, so although the Tarmac is technically an all-rounder, it still ought to be considered if you're thinking about investing in an aero bike. The Tarmac SL7 is 45 seconds faster over 40 km than the SL6 at 50 km per hour, measured in specialized wind tunnel. That's slightly slower than the old Venge, and although the two look very similar at a glance, the Tarmac's down tube is not as deep as the Venge's. The fork is slightly different too, and generally the tubing's a little skinnier. But Specialized says it took a page out of the Venge development book and utilised our free foil shape library. The integration at the front end will save a few watts with its hidden cabling, but Specialized managed to keep the same excellent handling and responsiveness that we liked so much about the SL6. Prices start at £4,500 for the Specialized SL7 Comp, which has the new SRAM rival ETAP Access, and tops out at £11,750 for the SRAM Red ETAP Access S-Works model. The Cervelo S5 is still one of the most radical looking aero bikes. Its V-stem is instantly recognisable, and Cervelo is already calling it iconic. Cervelo's research showed that the air flowing through the V-shaped gap was quicker to reattach to the top tube and smoother around the rider's legs, thus meaning overall there was less drag. This propelled the bike to a 5.5 watt improvement over the previous version. The front end is the focal point of the bike, but Cervelo worked on the seat post and the seat stays and their position relative to the frame. The S5 is another aero bike that made it into our editor's choice list, and we said it was up there with the best aero bikes on the market. Prices start at £5,700 for the Ultegra Di2 equipped S5 and go up to just over £11,000 for the SRAM Red ETAP and Dura Ace Di2 models. So that's our pick of the hottest aero bikes of 2022. If there's any we've missed, then let us know in the comments underneath, and don't forget to like and subscribe.